1MDB has sparked embezzlement and money laundering investigations across
one
at
of the
least
biggest
10
corruption
countries.
scandals the world has ever seen.
What may be the biggest financial scam in history.
A number of corrupt 1MDB officials treated this public trust as a personal bank account.
Follow us as we bring you into the courtroom where the biggest financial scandal in Malaysian history is being heard. By the Malaysian Insight, this is the Najib Razak 1MDB trial, and I'm Patrick Teo. Shahrol Halmi vehemently denied accusations by Najib Razak's lawyer that he colluded with global investment bank Goldman Sachs and fugitive businessman Low Taek Jho to make millions in kickbacks from 1MDB's acquisition of energy producer Tanjong Energy. Goldman, who acted as financial advisor, bookrunner, underwriter and arranger for 1MDB, had made millions from the sovereign wealth fund's investment and bonds. It raised $6.5 billion in 1MDB and earned $600 million in fees. The 1MDB trial resumed this morning at the Kuala Lumpur High Court before Judge Colin Sequeira after a 2-week break. On the witness stand was former 1MDB CEO and the prosecution's 9th witness, Shahrol. Shahrol took the stand as witness in September 2019 and his cross-examination is still not done. Defense lawyer Wan Izzuddin Wan Muhammad took over the cross-examination from lead counsel Shafi Abdullah today. He asked Shahrol about 1MDB's acquisition of energy producer Tanjong Energy Holdings Sdn Bhd from Malaysian business tycoon Ananda Krishnan. Shahrol told the court that 1MDB's general counsel Jasmine Liu and Joe Low had worked with global investment firm Goldman Sachs to broker the deal. Tim Leisner, former Goldman partner in Asia, brokered the deal whereby the firm would get 0.5% in interest from the acquisition. Since the 1MDB scandal hit the headlines, Leisner, who pleaded guilty to helping orchestrate the looting of billions of dollars from 1MDB, has been permanently barred from working in the securities industry. Leisner also agreed to forfeit $43.7 million when he pleaded guilty to money laundering and foreign bribery charges for his role to siphon most of the $6.5 billion raised for 1MDB. In the 1MDB Tanjong deal, Goldman had valued Tanjong Energy at 10.64 billion ringgit. Wan Izzuddin asked the witness how it was that Goldman could act beyond its engagement, as the investment bank does not do valuations. The lawyer suggests that Goldman valued the company at 10.64 billion ringgit so it could make a higher fee. He said Shahrol colluded with Goldman to value Tanjong at a high price so that he and Goldman could make higher kickbacks. The investment bank had made hundreds of millions of ringgit through 1MDB's acquisition of Tanjong. Shahrol, however, did not agree with the lawyer. That didn't stop the lawyer. He went on to accuse Shahrol of colluding with Joe Low in the deal with a promise of remuneration. Again, Shahrol disagreed. Moving on, Wan Izzuddin asked the witness about Goldman's role as 1MDB's financial advisor, bookrunner, underwriter and arranger. Shahrol said Joe Low told him that Goldman would handle everything. Did Joe Low act as a broker for Goldman? The lawyer asked. He had contact with all the relevant stakeholders, including Najib. In the indictment of him and Goldman banker Roger Ng by the U.S. Department of Justice, it is apparent that he was a broker, Wan Izzuddin argued. No, I don't know the details of the DOJ indictment, Shahrol answered. He added that it was the convention that Joe Low's name be kept out of all board meetings to protect Najib. Shahrol was told to follow this, and he did. The reason why you kept his name out was because you were colluding with him to get remuneration from Goldman, the lawyer accused again. Shahrol disagreed. after lunch, Wan Izzuddin brought up a news article that showed that 1MDB had overpaid for Tanjong Energy. The article said that Tanjong's value was closer to 6 billion ringgit and that 1MDB had overpaid by at least 1.8 billion ringgit to 2.5 billion ringgit. Shahrol disagreed. This article is a newspaper article and they just did simple arithmetic, whereas the acquisition team studied it for months, he said. Next, the lawyer asked Shahrol about 1MDB's credit rating with regard to bonds. In order to finance the acquisition of Tanjong, Najib approved a 6.17 billion ringgit bridging loan from Maybank and RHB and an additional 1.75 billion US dollars in bonds issuance. Goldman helped 1MDB raise the bonds to purchase Tanjong, making 100 million ringgit along the way. Wan Izzuddin told the court that the total cost 1MDB had to bear was 2.876 billion US dollars, taking into consideration Goldman's fees and interest accrued from the bond offering for the Tanjong deal. In 2022, 1MDB would have to pay 1.8 billion US dollars as part of interest payments. The lawyer observed that there was no hard evidence to support that the deal was going to be profitable. There were projections, Shahrol said. It was given by Leisner showing positive cash flows that would service the debts. But the projections were never met. As for making profit, Shahrol said he doesn't know as he left the role in 2013. With that, proceedings ended for the day. The trial will continue tomorrow morning. This podcast was brought to you by the Malaysian Insight. It is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam with additional reporting by Beat Hong. I'm Patrick Till.